Hi, this is Stephanie Hines, and I will be talking about Rossi et al., Chapter 6, Assessing and Monitoring Program Process. So, many steps are required to take a program from concept to full operation, and much effort is needed to keep it true to its original design and purposes. So basically, it's not easy to start a new program. So no matter how well planned such programs may be, unexpected results and unwanted side effects often surface early in the course of implementation. So this is why assessing and monitoring program process is important. So here's our overview. We're going to go through an introduction, talk about the purpose, questions, audience, to-do list, coverage and bias, gathering data, cautions, and after the evaluation. So, any program that has federal funding is going to have evaluations and be held accountable. Programs have to implement their plans, and there are obstacles, and sometimes there's a discrepancy between what they say they're going to do and what they actually do. So, different types of evaluations covered in Chapter 6 include program organization assessment, program process evaluation, or implementation evaluation, which is good for new programs. Program process monitoring, which is the ongoing repeated evaluation. The client utilization study, who uses the services and to what extent. And also the process evaluations are used in impact evaluations. So this type of evaluation could be the starting point for a more comprehensive evaluation. So the organizational plan and program theory are used. You have to have an evaluative judgment, and standards and objectives are determined by the administrators usually. So the purposes: to respond flexibly and make changes quickly, to review activities and goals, to address implementation problems, to get feedback, to show accountability, to help with an impact evaluation, to communicate with sponsors and funders, and to know what happened and to find solutions. The audience includes the board of the organization, administration, sponsors, managers, advocates, lobbyists, and even politicians. So, some questions are: how well is the program organized? What is the quality of services? Is the program reaching the target population? Is the program delivered as intended? And what resources have been used? So if you look at Rossi et al. Pages 171 to 172, you'll see some more questions in there. But these ones that I have listed here basically cover the types of questions. So the to-do list includes studying the operations, activities, services, functions, performance, component parts, resources, and so forth. You have to have a specification of services, means like you're describing what services are happening. Accessibility, examining organizational functions, looking at the program support functions as well, and comparing sites if there are multiple sites for standardization. So, in a nutshell, an evaluator who's assessing and monitoring the program process has to look at the estimates of coverage and bias and participation, the types of services delivered, the intensity of services given to participants of significant kinds, and the reactions of participants to the services delivered. So coverage talks about how much the targets participate. Are they doing it once a week, twice a week, once a month, once a year, how often? And under coverage is when not all of the people who need the program receive the services. An example of this would be the WIC program, where there's more people that need WIC than actually get it. So that would be an example of under coverage. Over coverage is when people who don't need the program get the services. An example of over coverage would be Sesame Street, where anyone who has a TV can turn it on and watch Sesame Street, but really their target population is preschoolers with lower socioeconomic levels. Under coverage, so you look at the reasons, how to address it, and there's an example in the book about homeless people getting food stamps. Well, they didn't have an address to send the food stamps to. They weren't likely to go in and get the food stamps. So they came up with some other ideas and different ways to address the undercoverage. So the program should aim to increase the number in need, so the people who need the program actually using it, and decrease the number of people who don't need the program. So bias talks about which groups use the program more. And so things that affect bias are like self-selection and program actions. So sometimes there's examples where the people who work in the program like encourage people to participate who are likely to be successful just to make their program look better, and then other people who need it are like discouraged from participating. So gathering the data, you want to compare, what was it like before and what's happening now. So you want to use both qualitative and quantitative data. You want to use different types of surveys, figure out what the dropout rate is, who are the subgroups, and so you need the data from the process monitoring before beginning an impact analysis. So you need that ongoing data of what's happening in the moment. So cautions include the evaluator's role. Maybe the evaluator needs to know what is their job and what are they there to do. The evaluator needs to have good negotiation skills. They need to know how the managers help them. Like, managers are there to make sure you're following the law, the confidentiality agreements, and any other kind of rules that the organization has that maybe the evaluator doesn't know about. So really you need a good partnership with the managers of the organization. Have an awareness of the data quality. Sometimes you need to do a data audit. Go back through all the records and check. Make sure that the data is being, properly recorded and everything. So you can have an implementation failure when basically they're not doing what they're supposed to do and not serving as the people that they're aiming to serve. You have ritual compliance, and the staff buy-in is important, and standardization is also important. So after the evaluation, you want to take corrective action, improve recruitment to the program, so making sure that you're getting those people who need the program in to use it. Get the program design and program implementation to match. So you want to match up, what's supposed to happen and what does happen. You want them to be the same. And then you figure out, do you really need a full impact evaluation? Maybe, this evaluation, you need to figure out more, find more information. And then after the evaluation, of course, enjoy your weekend and relax, breathe, and smile. So remember that many steps are required to take a program from concept to full operation, and much effort is needed to keep it true to its original design and purposes. So once you design a program, you have to stay on top of it and continually process monitor. So process monitoring is kind of like benchmarks. You're looking, always wanting to know what's going on, are we doing things right, and stay on guard, like these guys, right? And here's the reference. All right, thank you very much, and have a nice day.